day! GoPro's down 20% after hours. Should I just make a video of me crying? No, absolutely not. We are going to look at the facts behind GoPro's latest quarterly results. We're going to decipher the bad stuff in the quarter. We're going to decipher the good stuff. And then I'm going to let you guys know what I'm doing with GoPro. Am I buying more? Am I selling? Am I just holding? What am I planning on doing based upon this last quarter? I didn't really want to make a GoPro video regardless of whether it went up or down, but I had so many people comment after the earnings came out on, you know, what's your opinion, what's this? I had short sellers coming on the videos talking crap. That's normal, you know, short sellers. So if you're a short seller and you watch this, make sure you give it a thumbs down like you guys always do. Anyways, let's get into GoPro here. So first off, we need to see what happened in the past quarter. What did they report? So they reported $240 million in revenue. This was well below what analysts expected. Analysts expected $315 million in revenue. Now, why is this? Why were they so far off of what analysts expected? Because they had a production issue with Hero 5. This is why so many places were out. Best Buy and Amazon didn't have them. You know, Amazon was in and out. Target, a lot of the major retailers and whatnot. GoPro just could not get enough units out there because they had a production issue. And this was seen, and I had kind of seen it, and this made me worry about these numbers a lot that were coming out. But at the same time, I'm a long-term investor, so for me to say sell just based upon maybe them missing numbers, that would be stupid for me. I wish I would have done it, unfortunately, because now look at it, it's down 20% after hours, and it's been down, just going down and down and down the last month. So it would have been great to just sell and now buy back. But the fact is, that's not the situation we have here. So basically, they had a production issue. They could not get enough units out there, what they expected to get out there. And we have to deal with it. But the past quarter, what's it really matter? All that matters is the future. The future is what matters with GoPro, because that's going to decide whether that's a $50 stock in the future or a $5 stock in the future. So what do they expect going forward? So fourth quarter, they expect revenue of $625 million. Last year, they did around $436 million in the fourth quarter. So based upon what management expects for fourth quarter revenue, they're still expecting revenue to be up 45–50%. Now that's still about $200 million off of what I expect them to do for numbers, and that number could change depending on how many Hero units I see that are going out there and Karma units and whatnot. But still, that's phenomenal growth. I can't think of many stocks that are going to grow revenue by 40–50% in the fourth quarter. If you guys know many, go ahead and tell me in the comments section right now. I can't think of any. There's not one stock I follow that's going to have revenue up 40–50% in the fourth quarter. Not one, but GoPro. GoPro is the only one that expects that. So, and I honestly think management probably, I would say sandbag maybe that number just a bit, because they've missed numbers 3 out of the last 4 quarters. When you miss numbers so many quarters in a row, then you tend to kind of pull back the reins and you're like, I don't want to screw up again. I don't want it to be 4 out of 5 quarters, because that just makes you look like an idiot. You know what I mean? So I expect them to maybe have sandbag numbers a bit. And in that revenue number, they said that they expect less than 10% of that revenue to be from Karma. I think this is a great thing, because that just leaves Karma for upside. Now, of course, less than 10%. Could that mean they're expecting 9% of the revenue to come from Karma? Are they expecting 3%, 2%? What are they expecting? Regardless, I'm just happy they are expecting very little from Karma in this quarter, just so that leaves upside if Karma sells really well and they can get the units out there and produced. So, and something else they mentioned on the call is now they're finally at full production, where all the lines are going. They have full production on cameras, and they just achieved that finally after the production issues. And they're now also shipping into Amazon. Also a fact that's very important. Last quarter, they were not shipping into Amazon directly because they didn't have enough units, and there was something about pricing and whatnot. Finally, they're going to start shipping into Amazon. If you go onto Amazon, try to buy a Hero 5 Black now, you are actually greeted with a pre-order type deal where as soon as they get them in, they're going to ship them out to you. So that is a very positive thing. Now, they're expecting gross margins to be around 40%, not a surprise. They're expecting diluted earnings per share of around 15 cents, so they're expecting to be profitable. in the quarter. I don't have a strong feeling on where the diluted earnings per share are. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 15 cents. I wouldn't be surprised if they're 50 cents. I really don't know. It's just a hard thing to decipher on. A lot of it depends on how many they sell from their website versus selling from Best Buy and other places. Because think, if they sell things on their website, they're getting absolute full margin on that. Where if they sell something from Best Buy or Walmart or Amazon or whatever, they're getting obviously less margin on that. Because if it's a $400 camera, someone buys it directly from GoPro, they get all that margin. But if GoPro sells that to Best Buy is probably only paying $280 for that, $290, something around there. So that can move earnings big time in itself. Now, 2016, they're expecting full revenue of 1.25 to 1.3 billion. This is less than they were expecting before. They were expecting 1.35 billion to 1.5 billion. So they took down revenue numbers. Not a surprise considering they could not get production up in October. So they had a weak October, which then was probably $100 million or so less than what the company expected in revenue, which then you have to lower your numbers by at least 100 million, otherwise it makes no sense. So that's what they ended up having to do there. 2017, so that's next year, they expect double-digit year-over-year revenue growth. Now, double-digit revenue growth, does that mean they're expecting 11% revenue growth? Does that mean they're expecting 99% revenue growth? We don't know, and I don't even know if the company knows. They're just expecting it to be a very strong year. I would say the same thing. The first quarter, oh my goodness, I'll have to do a breakdown of numbers eventually on that quarter, but that quarter should blow away the previous year's quarter because GoPro is having trouble getting production out there as it is. Christmas time, the sell-through should be insane, which will then deplete all the retailers and whatnot, which will mean in 1Q, GoPro's gonna have to fill that entire channel. So I wouldn't be surprised if Q1's actually more than a 40 or 50% up revenue month alone. So you can see that there's definitely some great growth expectations and the turn is happening with GoPro. It's expected to start in this quarter we're in now, October, November, December. I absolutely believe it. I think it will happen. We'll just have to see if it happens the way management expects or the way I think that it's even, I'm more bullish than what management is. We'll have to see. And basically, they're expecting to be profitable on a non-GAAP basis next year. They're going to take down some operating expenses. And all this told makes me mad that they had the production issue. So I'm mad they had the production issue. I wish they never had that because if they never had that production issue, they would have easily killed these numbers. And GoPro's stock price could probably be in the 20s right now. If they wouldn't have that production issue, they could have probably gotten close to my $1 billion number for Q4. But all because they had the production issue, all because September they couldn't ship crap for units that went to this last quarter, and all because October was so weak with sending units out, it's basically going to leave November and December. So you're missing almost a month of really selling in a lot of product. That's why I had to take down numbers when I took them down in the last video, and that's why management expects what they expect. So I'm mad about that, but I'm still long-term bullish on GoPro, the same as I always have been. I believe the stock's going to be substantially higher in the next year or two. We'll see what happens. I'm buying more tomorrow or within the next day or two. We'll see how things clear out. I will be buying some long-term call options in either 2018, probably 2019. I will be purchasing long-term call options at maybe a $18 strike price, $20 strike price, something I can get for very cheap. And then hopefully if they blow the numbers away over the next year, which I'm planning on them doing, and just having a great year of huge growth next year, that should send the stock much higher, which then hopefully I should be able to sell those call options for a lot more money than I paid for them. So that's what I will personally be doing. So my confidence in GoPro hasn't changed. I'm just mad that they had the production issue. And I wish I would have sold, 3 weeks ago and then just freaking waited for the stock to go down and buy back in, but that's not my style. And what if I bet it would have been wrong and they would have reported great numbers? And then all because I was thinking short term, I would have screwed up a long-term gain and say the stock goes to $18 or $19 and then I'm stuck here with no GoPro shares. When you're a long-term investor, you got to stick through long term. That's the bottom line, and that's what I do. If you're a short-term investor and you're just worried about a quarter or something, then absolutely you need to be in and out of stocks and trying to do that thing. I've tried to do that in the past and I failed. The only time I've ever made money and a lot of money in the stock market is when I focus long-term on a company, and when the shares dip, I buy more. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm buying long-term call options, which is even more bullish than buying the shares straight up, actually. And we'll see how it all turns out. It will be fun to see what happens in the next quarter and over the next year with GoPro. I hope it's going to be a great one. It's my favorite stock. It's my #1 stock. We'll see what happens. Just want to give you guys this update because you requested it a great deal. And have a great day.